Thanks, Rita. I think with the global theme of ink, Rita chose the one person who likes to spend their weekends covered head to toe in ink as a screen printer. So along with that theme, I've titled my talk, There's Ink in My Veins, or How Screen Printing Saved My Life. And while that's definitely hyperbolistic, it's also kind of true in terms of my career and creative endeavors. So I operate my business under the name Ron Luhorn Industries. And while that's kind of confusing upon first glance and often results in me being called Ron the first time I meet somebody, it's also been really good for me, being a super unique name. And when you Google Ron Luhorn, it's pretty much just my work that comes up. But it comes with the question a lot of times, what's it mean, where's it come from? And it's as simple as a typography class experiment where we were instructed to dissect a word or phrase, pull it apart, put it back together, see how the characters interact. And when the word that I chose was just my name, and you pull out a little bit of each one of those, Aaron Scamihorn, and it becomes Ron Luhorn. So stuck with it. It's been good for me, and it's kind of my alter ego or persona. My overarching theme for the talk this morning is contrast. It's this discipline that I take very seriously, and it's kind of become my mantra as to how I approach my work. I think that there's something in our brains that if we're only doing one specific type of creation or one specific style for too long, there's other parts of the brain that aren't being activated and are kind of sitting dormant. And when you can find something to invest your creative energies into that is a polar opposite of that, and how that will use that part of the brain and then free up that first part to re-energize and be ready to go back to that primary creative endeavor to be better at it. And so I'll get more into how that's played out for me in my career, but I want to dial it back and go back kind of to the very beginning for me and talk about my upbringing. I grew up in a household where I was raised by hippies. Not the psychedelic kind of hippies who go to Woodstock, but just more in terms of the we make everything by hand kind of hippies. My dad and mom are both ceramic artists and potters, and that's dad at his little art commune in the 70s. But mom's also an art teacher, and so there was a lot of hands-on creation growing up, a lot of making stuff by hand, and there's this tactile fulfillment and creativity that was a big part of my identity and a big part of my family's identity that was shaping who I was. But then moving into college, trying to figure out what to do with that, turn that into a career, I initially thought I wanted to follow in mom's footsteps and be an art teacher, but quickly learned that I do not like middle schoolers. They're the worst. And all that time that I was studying to teach, I was also doing a job on campus as a designer for events and t-shirts and whatnot for the dorms, and was loving that. It was just kind of a little side fun thing. And so when I said forget teaching, I went back and finished the graphics degree. And so a lot of you know that when you become a designer and you get out into the world and you go to your first agency gig, it is often sitting in a cubicle and staring at a screen for hours on end. But not that there's anything wrong with that. It's great. It's how a lot of people start out. And to be completely transparent and fully honest, my cubicle was a lot more like this. And I spent a majority of my agency years at Media Sauce, and wouldn't trade it for the world. I learned the most there and grew the most creatively that I have at any other point in my career. But at the same time, it's still kind of a linear focus, a singular direction for creativity. It was pushing pixels around with a mouse on a screen. So while there, I started doing some other creative exploration to see what else was out there and to kind of do some of that contrast I was talking about. And growing up, I was also playing in a lot of bands, and garage punk bands, and even a jazz combo in college, and had this passion for making music as well. So local promotions company MOKB reached out on Twitter, was looking for someone to help out with show flyers and posters when bands are coming into town. It was very low pressure, very little direction, very little restriction. So I had a lot of opportunity to just explore some different styles and play around. And I was starting to get some of that fulfillment outside of the day job that I was getting really excited about. But again, it was still very the same style of creation with being mostly digital. So I was seeking something a little bit further beyond that for some more tactile fulfillment. And I decided to start teaching myself to screen print. I was always super jealous of the kids in college who were taking printmaking courses, and I was busy studying educational philosophy. So I had no idea what I was doing. It was a lot of shooting in the dark, and I just knew that I wanted to do this music thing, and I wanted to do this this tactile creation process. And so, along with the help of, like Rita said, Peter Lockhart helped me out quite a bit. He had a t-shirt printing company and lent me some screens and squeegees and chemicals and ink and whatnot to just start playing around and seeing what I could come up with. So along with that, I started browsing hours and hours of YouTube videos, watching different people screen print, and a ton of forums, like gigposters.com's forum, so I could ask the stupid questions like, why is this not working? And along with those and a ton of trial and error, more error than trial, I was able to start getting some images to come out onto paper. And so while I was doing that, MOKB was still coming to me for some work, and I knew that I wanted to do this gig poster thing, so I was waiting for the right artist with them to kind of pitch this idea of, like, hey, let's do a gig poster. And when Mayor Hawthorne came to town, it seemed like the perfect opportunity. He's a kind of weird-looking dude and has a sort of 50s retro vibe that I really am drawn to. And since he's got the kind of weird look to him, it was a chance to do the portrait illustration stuff that I was really passionate about as well. So MOKB was stoked on it. They were down, and Mayor Hawthorne was down as well. And after the show, I had the opportunity to talk with him, and this is what he said to me. He said, I've had a lot of gig posters created for me, but this, man, this is the shit. What better opportunity, or what better response to the first out-of-the-gate gig poster could an artist ask for? I was just over the moon, and I was done. I was like, this is it. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to focus every amount of extra time and creative energy into this. And so I was waiting for the next one to come along so that I'd see who the next artist could be that we could do this with. And I had this one as an example now to build a show, so try to catch a little bit bigger fish now that I got better bait. And the next one that came along was Cake. Just could not believe that it was happening, that I was getting to work with these guys. I spent a lot of time putting them in rotation in high school and college, and was some of my Creative Jam music. And always really a big fan of their merchandising and album art as well, because they just kind of had this retro, grungy sort of screen printed vibe to a lot of their work. So I wanted to capitalize on that and kind of play a little bit in their style, as well as bring in some of the illustration stuff that I was liking, and playing around with type. They used that same font for all of their logos everywhere, but I wanted to play on it and expand on it a little bit more. It went over great. They were super stoked on it. We didn't print nearly enough because they sold out like right away. I had no idea what the market was going to be like for trying to sell them, and really now wish that we would have done about 100 more of them. So since they had responded so well on it, they've now come back, and we've done a total of 7 for them now, I think. This is a handful of the other ones. A couple in California, one in Oregon. And this other one here in Indy, the Cake Metric show, I had the chance to meet John McCrae, and the lead singer. He took me backstage into the green room and was telling me about how they used to screen print their own t-shirts when they were first starting out as a band. And we got to talk shop a little bit, so that was pretty cool. So I had a handful of these under my belt now, and was starting to reach out, and then had the chance to do work for a lot of the other bands that I was a huge fan of. Just reaching out to anyone and everyone who would let me make a poster for them. Grew up listening to Taking Back Sunday and Dropkick Murphys and Bayside. And a huge fan of Me Without You there on the left. That Fox one, pretty near and dear to my heart as well, because it was a process that was a lot of sketching back and forth, sending that to the band, getting feedback. And from there, went into the computer and did the digital side again to refine the illustration and do the type layout. And then back to a handmade process to finish that out with screen printing it. So it was during that time that I was starting to find that how much that was affecting what I did during the day. I think at first glance, or from the outside in, you'd say, hey, you're putting all this creative effort into what you're doing at nights and weekends. Like, how are you still able to be creative at work? But it was the opposite of that. It was giving me this tactile fulfillment and the perfect contrast to agency life that was making me better at my day job. My day job was making me better at this. Just that ability to feel the ink raised off the paper and playing around with different techniques like the glossy rays coming out of his eyes. I don't know if you can see that on there, but just these physical creation processes that were really starting to bring to life this concept of contrast for me. And I think that it's more than just in terms of two different creative endeavors philosophy. It's a whatever you're doing. If you're making cakes by day, finding that thing at night to do, brewing beer, whatever, that gets you out of the mindset of your initial and focus for your day job, and then doing that alternate thing that brings you back and refreshes you for the next thing. Second, I need a drink. So I want to share some other advice I've received over the years that's kind of shaped who I am and what I do, and kind of created a direction for my career. And the biggest piece of that was an artist, a college professor, who was encouraging us that no matter what we're getting paid to do, no matter what you are focused on for your day job, you got to find, by any means necessary, a way to make sure that you're doing what you love. And to sum it up in the shortest way possible, it turned out to be fake it, make shit up, and repeat. And it was so inspiring because it was this idea that if there's something you want to be doing and you're like, man, I'd love to get paid to do whatever, just doing that thing regardless. And if it's fake, like a project, you're like, hey, I want to get paid to do restaurant design, coming up with a fake restaurant and doing everything that you'd want to be paid to do for that, and creating this portfolio piece, even though it's totally just made up. It's now an opportunity to put that out there for as many people as you can possibly get to see it, as far as your social network will reach. And you do that enough, you repeat that over and over, and eventually someone's going to pay you to do it. Someone's going to hire you to do it. the passion that you have for that thing because it's something that you love and something you're doing specifically with that intention is going to come across to other people, and they're going to want some of that for whatever they're doing. And a good example of that for me has been volunteering for some Indianapolis organizations. One of the most fun ones has been the Naptown Roller Girls. Done a handful of bout posters for them, and super big fan of their kind of punk rock style, and if you know me, you know I'm a big fan of puns, so visualizing those with Seasons Beatings and Beat My Valentine is just right down my alley. And it was an opportunity to get to do illustrated portrait work for people looking tough. So those, along with some work for Girls Rock, the indie chapter. They're an organization who puts on summer camps for young girls to have a creative outlet and want to play music. And both of those led to quite a few different clients who had reached out. I mean, I just did them because I was stoked on what they were doing. I was happy to help out, and it was me creating something rad and them being stoked on it, and it was all good, but it led to some other opportunities. And one of the coolest ones that came out about from that was this book cover. Sarah Demon she is a cancer survivor, and she wrote this story about her journey through that. And she came to me and was like, hey, I want to look as badass as those girls on those things you were doing, and kind of want to give a big middle finger to cancer and the treatments. And so it was a direct relation to what that professor had encouraged us to do. I was just doing it, and then stuff started coming from it. And then another one of my mantras is, and I've heard it everywhere, but it's this idea of you can sleep when you're dead, and just create, and how that will shape your work and grow your reach. I read an interview in a design magazine a long time ago. I don't even remember who it was or what it was, but it was a quote from this lady who was saying she wanted to focus in on killing it as much as she could in her 20s, and how that led to her 30s being real chill, and she got to focus in on what she wanted to do, and it was a lot slower. So I took that to heart and focused in and all throughout my 20s and just did as much as I possibly could. And now in my 30s, there's no sign of slowing down. But I'm good with that. It's awesome. It's my own doing, and I love what I do and just want to create as much as possible. This Latin phrase there in the middle translates to life is short, but art is forever. And so I've also taken that to heart and just want to create as much as I can while I'm here. So to kind of illustrate this idea that I've just been doing anything and everything I can, I just wanted to do a super quick run through of my portfolio. And most of this is available on my site. Just there's a few random images in there that are not out there yet. But just kind of give you a cross section of how I've been pushing and not sleeping very much. You can go ahead and play the song. More than even a full song. So I apologize for getting that stuck in your head the rest of the day. So I think you can kind of see a little bit of the contrast there in terms of the work that I've explored. There's a lot of illustration in there, but then also branding and digital work and whatnot. I'm trying to do one thing for a little while, then switch it up, do something else, and then go back to that original thing has been really effective for me. And I would encourage anyone to try to find those things for them as well. Another little thing that has been a nice contrast element for me has been this event that I started last January. And if you're a freelancer or on a small design team, whatever, a lot of times you're taking a project from ideation to sketching to creation to revisions to finalizing whatever. And I wanted to break us out of that and force us to do something that pulled you out of that mindset. And what we do is a drawing in the round to where every 10 minutes buzzer goes off and you have to move. And it's sometimes frustrating because you're just like, oh no, I was right in the middle of this and I want to finish, but the pieces stay in the same spot and you got to go to the next one. And at the end of the night, every piece is a fully collaborative drawing of everyone there at the table. And it's this great brain exercise that you got to jump in, you have 10 minutes to come up with something and create it, and you got to play off what the person did before you. So it's super fast, you don't have time to think about what you're doing, just jump right in. And this is also a little bit of a shameless plug because we're always looking for new people who like to draw, doodle, draw letters, whatever, and also like craft beer. We meet every third Thursday at Indiana City Brewing downtown and usually run like 6:45 to 9, somewhere around there. I'd encourage you to check out the site. There's photos from every event on there and photos of the people creating them as well. And there's also a little form on there you can fill out and let us know you're interested in joining. We're currently in a phase right now where we got a couple more to do where we're finishing up a lot of them and finishing the inking and adding some color. We're going to throw them in frames and hang them up there at the brewery here in a couple months. Pretty excited about what's being created. And another little plug is April 1st Friday, the Primary Colors Gallery in the Murphy Building on the second floor, part of a show with Kyle Harrington and Gautam Rao, doing a type-focused art show where each piece is going to have some sort of emphasis on the type work in it. And yeah, you can find me online. All the socials, it's just Ron Luhorn, ronluhorn.com. And like I said before, you can just Google Ron Luhorn, it works. I'll go ahead and take any questions.
Where did all the creative typography come from? Where does that history and experience and knowledge come from?
Yeah, a lot of the hand script type, I use a Japanese brush pen, and huge fan of Japanese calligraphy and an artist who does handicraft exchange. I can't think of his name offhand now. Oh, Matt Sepov. Matt Sepov does this brush script type that's like super angular and kind of graffiti-ish, and kind of a blend of that traditional technique with this modern angular craziness, as well as like old sign painters. A blend of all those things together is kind of what I like to explore. Yeah, good question. Go ahead.
So what do you have, what's next? Is your silk screen becoming your primary and now you have another secondary contract?
That contrast for me has to be there. Like, I need that day job to just be focused in and do that, whatever that may be. And then the side stuff can be a lot more loose and free, and I don't have to worry about it for being a source of income, and just let it be this creative release for me. I am getting ready to move my studio. I got a new shop, and I'm really excited to push that and expand what I'm able to do. Got bigger and bigger screens. I continue to just think, man, I just want to print something as giant as I possibly can. So yeah, it's growing in that realm, doing more focus in on screen printing, more art prints. I got a piece that's going to be a part of the Gallery 1988 show in June, I think, for Tom Hanks' retrospective of his early work that I'm creating a piece for right now.
Who is your dream client?
That's a good question. You know, I'm such a fan of drawing portraits, and I've illustrated him before, but if Steve Buscemi would come to me and say, hey, like, I want a portrait done of me, that'd be it for sure. I'm a huge fan of wrinkles and sunken eyes and crazy hair and bad teeth. Just, it works. It works with my style. All right. Thanks so much. Oh, we got one more. Go ahead.
Have you ever thought about teaching any, running any workshops or teaching? I'm not known.
Nice. Yeah, the Homespun Indie has reached out a couple times to do some instructional workshops. Unfortunately, so far it had been kind of hard with my schedule, but moving into a new studio, I'm going to have this great new space that'll be a lot easier to access at weird hours. It would probably be at like 11 o'clock at night, yeah, absolutely. All right, thanks so much, everybody. Appreciate it.